Tides of Tomorrow has a very interesting concept. Next to making your own choices that alter the story, you are also following another player who made choices before you, and you have to live with their consequences. Maybe you remember that this title was announced during a recent State of Play, and I was immediately intrigued. So of course, when the developer DigixArt reached out to try the game and sponsor the channel, I was on board. You might know them from Road 96, which has a very positive score on Steam and is also all about interactive storytelling, but Tides of Tomorrow takes that to the next level. I've now played through the demo a couple of times, and if this is just the tip of the iceberg, it could be a very special experience. You can, by the way, check out the demo for yourself via the special link in the video description and wishlist the game as well if you want. So the game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where most of civilization was wiped out by a massive flood. Those who survived are now scattered across the ocean and infected with plastemia, a disease caused by microplastic pollution. Ozone helps slow the spread of this virus in your body, so it becomes the most valuable resource in the world, and immediately after being rescued from the ocean, you are impacted by a choice made by the player you're following. Nahe, the person who rescues you, only has one bottle of ozone, so if the player before you already took it, you are left empty-handed. And that is just one of the many ways other players' choices can affect your playthrough. You then get on a boat and can explore nearby locations. We have to go to Market Land, where more ozone should be available. Piloting the speedboat feels great, by the way, and when you get close to a platform, you will see a short loading screen before arriving there in third person. Right away, I saw Joyce, the player who I was following, walk to a donation box. This is where you can leave items that the person following you can pick up. Joyce did not leave anything for me, sadly, but in other runs there were plenty of resources to grab. So you can actually make the game harder for yourself, but easier for whoever follows you if you want. How the overall system works is pretty simple. Before you start, you select a player you want to follow. This can be a friend from your friend list, a random person, it can be me, a developer, or really anyone who shared their code with you. But there are also offline journeys if that is what you prefer. The idea is that we are all Tidewalkers, and with one press of a button you can see visions from the Tidewalker you are following. So basically how they were walking around and what interactions they had in their playthrough. When picking who to follow, you also see their traits, and these are based on their playstyle and the types of choices they make. A survivalist focuses on themselves, so don't expect many resources when you follow them, while someone with the cooperative trait is the exact opposite. And you will also see these traits update in real time as you make choices, so then you know what traits you will be communicating with the followers you have. Pro-mankind is another trait, and this means that you help NPCs you encounter in the world. For example, there's a lady who asks for ozone. Joyce helped her in her playthrough, so when I met her in mine, she rewarded me because she had been helped by a Tidewalker before. But it can also go the other way. If you follow someone who has not been kind to the people in a village, they might rat you out instead of helping you.
A Tidewalker? What are you doing here? Guard! Guard! There's a Tidewalker here!
I especially like the moment where two enemies talk about someone breaking into their locker. So that's obviously the player you are following. You also see them go into the locker. So where you normally want to follow what the previous player has been doing, if that was successful, right now you will notice when you get into the same locker that the enemy will come to that same locker because they heard something. So you quickly want to go in the opposite locker to be successful. There are basically two big ways the demo can play out. You either arrive on the docks in sunny conditions with the market open and people walking around freely, or you arrive when things are not that colorful. You cannot enter the regular entrance and there's overall way more enemy presence. You still go to the same areas, but in that darker playthrough it's all about sneaking, while the other one is way more open. It seems that the player following you will always experience the alternative version of the level you just played. In the sunny version you steal ozone, so the next player will find the market on high alert. If you instead play during the darker version where the enemies are already on edge, then because you resolve the situation, the player who follows you will find a more peaceful market land. One section involved calming down a crime overlord by making the right dialogue choices. I'm curious what happens if he stays angry after this conversation. Like if this demo is just the tip of the iceberg and all the choices ripple through the full game, it could be something special. The State of Play trailer also seems to suggest that you can choose the order in which you go to the different locations, and that you can then change the player you follow as well, which would add some extra depth. It's at least a very interesting way to experience an interactive story, and I will definitely be keeping an eye on it. Tides of Tomorrow releases on February 24th, 2026. You can again check out the demo via the link in the description. Subscribe and leave a like, and I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.